Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back for our third episode of this Body Paint 101 type series. And today I'm going to be talking to you about I believe there's only four different types of body paints and how you can use them, how they're best used, what they're good for, like the positive and negatives of each one of them. And I thought that would be a really kind of fun video for people who are very new to body painting to kind of know the ins and out of the different types that you can buy going forward. So let's just get right into it. The first type of body paint that I'm going to talk about is pretty much the basic body paint that everyone is going to be using, which are the water activated body paints. There are several different brands that you can buy these from. The most popular water activated body paint brands are Mehron, Graftobian. There's Made You Look, mostly Mehron and Graftobian, but there's also Wolf FX has really good ones. Made You Look has good water activated body paints. Silly Farm has a specific brand called Fab, which is for face and body paint. Those are really good. There's a bunch of different brands, Chameleon, Superstar. I know that there's a couple other ones that I've never personally tried, but Mehron and Graftobian are probably the top two most well-known water-based body paints. So basically, it's what it sounds like. They are water activated paints, okay? So you just take a look. Here's a tip before we keep moving forward. When you're doing body paints, I highly recommend having a spray bottle, okay? You can dip your brush and get it wet and then put it in here, but you are going to make this so messy and wet when it doesn't need to be that wet. So I highly recommend taking a spray bottle and just, lightly activating it. You can see it's wet. And then you can control how much water there is. If you need a little bit more, you can let it dry. It won't take as long to dry. So just a little tip, use a spray bottle. But it is what it says. It is activated by water. It is pretty much what is most used. It's what I mostly use in regards to body paints. Again, there it is in all its glory. So the pros of using water activated body paint is it's easy to activate. You just need water. It's easy to wash off. It just washes off with water. Okay, you can use soap and water and you're good to go. It blends over itself really well, so you can layer on different water activated paints and it blends really, really well. You can put eyeshadow on top of it. You can put a lot of things on top of water activated paint. If it is wet, it'll obviously disrupt the paint, but you can layer really well with water activated paint. Water activated paint is probably the number one body paint that most body painters use. It's just really easy. It has a lot of really good coverage, and it's what you will find most used. The cons of water activated body paint are sweating. Okay, it is water activated, and your body also activates water when you sweat. So if you are wearing it to conventions or you're doing a lot of movement when you're body painting, it will come off in areas that you are sweating. I have body painted on Twitch a lot, and I've had moments where I've cried, laughed, or cried, and then it's gone. So any type of liquid that touches it does indeed disrupt it. Again, it's hard to layer kind of liquid on top of it. And by that, I mean if you had like sweat products, there are specific products that you can use to make it look like you're sweaty. If you need to put like fake blood that's really wet, it can disrupt it as well. It's a little finicky in the way that it sets. It's not the most long wearing because it is water activated. So it can adjust and it can move quite quickly. It is my favorite though when it comes to the four different types of body paints. It's the one that you will find me using the most often on my face, on my body, whatever I feel like doing with it. Again, it's just really easy to use, and it's a really good way to just like get into body painting. The next, probably most commonly used body paint are cream body paints. So I have this like stick here. This is the Mehron Cream Blend stick. Again, Mehron, pretty much the top dog when it comes to body paint products. And this is just a cream paint stick. So you're just going to blend it out. It's very easy to blend out. It's very opaque. These are really nice for, I would say more so face than body. Like, I personally wouldn't just take the stick and like go at it with my body trying to paint like clothing and stuff like this. Cream paint sticks, let's talk about the pros of them. They are best used for your face, and they are also incredibly blendable, and you can also put a lot of products on top of them. Again, you can blend eyeshadow on top of them really easy. I wouldn't necessarily say to go straight in with water activated paint over them. The biggest con of cream paints is the fact that you have to set them. Okay, you need to make sure that you have a setting powder and you have to set them really, really well. Then you can start applying like the eyeshadows and the water activated paints over them. But it's one, going to crease really bad, and two, it's going to make a giant mess if you do not set them. What it does though is it is a lot more long wearing on your face for conventions and stuff like that than water activated paint would be, because sweating and stuff like that does not make it run because you have it set. It's a thick cream product, so you don't have to worry about, running around at a convention sweating and then having it run down your face. That's not going to happen the same way it would with water activated paints. I don't use cream paints too often, but again, if you need like a white base, I would say cream paints are probably the way to go if you need like a really white face, because water activated paints, especially with white in particular, can get very streaky very fast. So it depends on the looks that you need and what you need it for, but that's where I think cream like paints really stand out, is anything that has to do with like face paint. The third type of paint are airbrush paints. So these come in like very like small. You can do big or small bottles, but they are incredibly liquid. I'll give you a little ASMR. It's just straight up liquid. So the thing about this is they are really, really fun to use. I love using airbrush paints. They create a really kind of natural effect to things. You can shade really naturally. You can layer them so easily. I love the effects that airbrush paints create. The biggest con of airbrush paints are you need an airbrush machine, okay? This is for people who are obviously a little bit more into body painting. It's not so much just like a light hobby as it is something that you are passionately doing over and over again. That's when I would invest in an airbrush machine. I was fortunate enough that my airbrush machine was gifted to me, but I don't know how long it would have taken me to actually buy an airbrush machine because I didn't know how much I would use it. But I really, really like it for special effects, and like when I make a mask and then I need to paint the mask, that's when they are perfect. If you are super serious about body painting and this is something that you see yourself doing for a long time, this is when I would really look into airbrush paints. It creates a completely different look. And again, they also stay really, really well. It's not as what's the word I'm thinking of? Finicky as water-based paints. Like if I'm sweating, it's not going to immediately start to like come off and rub off everywhere. These are really, really nice, and I think their biggest pro is the fact that it creates such a natural effect, especially for special effects type makeup. If you're doing veining, shading, zombie makeup, these are really, really good for those. And I highly recommend this if you're super serious about doing it. The last type of paint is also something for people who are probably a little bit more serious about it, is alcohol activated paints. This is the Freakmo Skin Illustrator palette. So the thing about these is this is used pretty much for special effects makeup mostly. I would say 90% of it's for special effects makeup. So if you're doing something, again, with like veining, zombies, if you want it to look incredibly realistic, this is where alcohol activated paints come. And they are exactly what they say they are. They are alcohol activated. So this is water, right? I have water activated paint. You can see that it's wet. Okay, I'm going to take my finger to this dark one. There's nothing. Because these literally will not activate with anything but alcohol. And specifically 99% alcohol. Okay, you have to get 99% alcohol. This one's just from Amazon. So that's probably the biggest con about them, is they are only alcohol activated and you have to have alcohol for them. But the biggest pro about them is that they're so natural. They are very, very cool. And they don't budge because, again, you don't you're not just washing them off with water because they are activated with alcohol. You don't need alcohol to take them off. I would use an oil cleanser to take them off, but that's what I love about them is they are so incredibly long wearing and natural. Okay, I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to take this dark color. I dried it off again. There's nothing there. And I'm just going to take, this is the only thing I have in front of me right now. I'm going to dip that in the alcohol, and I'm just going to put a couple little, like, drops in here. The other kind of iffy thing about alcohol is it dries really fast because it's alcohol. So I just put a couple little drops in there as you can see, and I'm going to rub my finger around. And now we have color. So see how it's only activated with alcohol? Again, it dries pretty quickly. And we'll just kind of put it here. It's a little bit more difficult to work with because of the fact that it dries so quickly. To make it work better, you have to use like a brush and keep having it wet with alcohol, and then you can kind of move this around to make this look a little bit more natural. But the premise of it is to create really natural special effects makeup. And those are the 4 different types of body paints that you can use. Going from probably the easiest to use to the most difficult to use, and regarding your level of how like serious you want to take this. If you want me to show you how to use them in various looks, I can actually create an entire paint with them, with each one of them. Let me know and I can actually do that probably next week. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, let me know. I will be back next week with another one. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!